Welcome to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast, where we focus on discussing topics to help you burn fat, optimize health, and improve performance in life and sports. Transform the whole you from the inside out with the holistic method. Let's dive in. Here's your host, Debbie Potts.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to have my friend, Dr. Anna Cabeca, the girlfriend's doctor, on the show again today.
Great to be here with you. I'm so excited.
I am excited to talk about January. We want to get out of 2020. This show is going to air the first week in January, so 2021. We want to get out of this 2020 and just hit 2021 with a new fresh outlook, I hope, and get people to have that positive energy, positive vibes, positive attitude. And you're one of those people that I love to listen to and see your posts on social media and reading your books and information, because you specialize in women and men feeling their best, looking their best, and just thriving every day. So let's talk about what your purpose is and your why.
Yeah. Thank you. And just to share with the audience, I knew I was getting on with Debbie, so I needed to make sure I worked out really hard this morning. Been so super good and hydrated and all that good stuff. It's good to have accountability, right?
Yes.
And I just, one thing is in my story, my mess, our mess becomes our message. Oftentimes our mess becomes our message. And I think that's definitely my journey. At a point in my life, I was down in the deep, dark pits of hell, honestly. And I had nothing in my doctor's bag. Everything I tried did not work. And the answer was not in Xanax. And I knew that. And so that literally just took me on a journey around the world to find the truth and to find, just looking for answers to really be able to essentially resurrect myself, resurrect my life, resurrect my relationships. And it's a daily practice. These principles I've learned are part of a daily practice and discipline that I continue on today, that being over a decade ago. It's continuing on today because, it works. And when I fall off the wagon, everyone knows, we all fall off the wagon sometimes, at least I do for sure, that, when you stop doing what works, what worked stops working, right? Mm-hmm. So we have to get right back into that practice. And that's the discipline, and that's the practice, and that's where accountability and community can really, really help and give us the right answers and support around that, because we say, that we can see that, well, there are other people doing these kind of, there's the couch potato and she looks like a Vogue model. Well, that's the exception and not the norm, right? And so what works for us? I like in yoga, they say, stay on your mat. Don't look at what other people are doing. Stay on your mat. And I love that. And we have to do that in our life too. What is true for you? What works for you? Let's lift the veil of deception and get to the truth of really what works for us and keep those practices and disciplines healthy. And for me, that was the discovery of my system I call the Keto Green way, that nutritional and lifestyle system to really help us balance our hormones and restore our energy.
Mm-hmm. Just going back to what you said about what you learned in yoga, one of my sayings I love is comparison is a thief of joy. And
yes.
I just see that in everyday in life. You're like, okay, I'm trying to build a business, and you're trying to look at, Instagram. They have 100,000 followers. I only have this many followers. And then people did keto. They lost this much weight. Well, I'm gaining weight. And, people are training and they're not getting fatigued like I am. And I think it's so important to just stay in your lane and listen to what your body is telling you, your red flags, and adjusting those things, as we'll talk about nutrition and lifestyle habits, so you thrive every day and not just trying to survive the day is so essential.
So essential, exactly. And I love that comparison's the thief of joy. You're so right, Debbie. You really are. And think about that in so many ways. And so I have this saying, because we are both influencers. I would say I can be the one that influences millions, or the one that influences the one that influences millions.
Yeah, right? That's great.
And so it's just okay, what's my next right step? And I also, again, very faith-based, I say I have an audience of one. I'm in alignment what God wants me to be doing, or what I believe my inner voice is saying. This is your truth. This is your purpose. And just I stay in that. So, and that's challenging. You and I know, right? When we are saying, we're holding like our Keto Green. Well, you'll have people say, "Oh my God, what are you doing? That is crazy." I'm a complete vegan and eat, whatever there's what's right for, someone else may not be right for you. So we have to avoid those external criticisms, as well as the comparison. But let me tell you, healthy checks and balances, that's key. And I'm always listening.
So we did a podcast a few months ago on Keto Green 16, and I wanted to do the show for January because as everyone's starting to get through the holidays, no one wants to start right now as we're recording this in December that like, oh, I'll just wait and eat better and start exercising after New Year's. And I don't know what it is, because people just like have to wait for the right time, but there is never the right time. There's always something going on in your life. There's holidays all the time, and maybe people aren't traveling as much this year, but there's stuff going on and people have baggage that they just can't let go of. And so, January seems to be that time people want to start fresh. It's the new year, the new you, and to start working on themselves. So what is kind of a summary of Keto Green book? We'll put the link into the show notes, of course, but the book is kind of summarize what your program is.
Yeah, so Keto Green 16, my most recent book, is a 16-day plan that incorporates the best, healthy, cleanest keto eating and lifestyle with plant-based alkalinizing foods that help with hormone balancing, help with inflammation, help with detoxification, which is really critical. So it is a combination of, keto and plant-based foods, Keto Green, hence the name. And with keto, it's not just about eating high-fat, low, healthy, moderate protein, but it's also about intermittent fasting and no more snacking. Oh yeah, I said it. No more snacking. I don't know. Trust me on this one. Stop snacking, especially, in the perimenopause and post-menopause. Snacking is a disruptor to our body, to our metabolism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I just turned 49 and I'm all about optimizing my health this year and improving the aging process. And that's why I always look to what you offer, because 50 is coming up next November. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm 35 and I want to embrace the aging process and not blame it and say, okay, I can't do certain things because I'm getting older. But I think a lot of people have that mentality, oh, it's menopause, or I'm gaining weight because my hormones are changing. And it's just not that excuse that we don't need to have that belief system that it is the way it is. This is my normal. I'm getting older. I just pet peeve.
Oh, I hear you with this. And I always say menopause is natural. Menopause is natural and mandatory. We're all going to go through it. Suffering is optional. And it is a natural process, yes. And we can do it in a healthy way or an unhealthy way. And that brings us to puberty, right? No one would say, oh, I'm stopping you from going through puberty, or I'm going to keep your hormones like a 6-year-old's, right? No one's going to do that to someone who's going through puberty. And there's a healthy way to go through and there's an unhealthy way. And I've worked with so many girls and teens, and I have 4 of my own. But going through puberty and moms coming in and say, I just want to put them on birth control pills to stop the acne and this, that, the cramps. I'm like, well, that's not, that what she's going through is a natural process, but let's eliminate the sugar. Let's eliminate the dairy. Let's make sure we're incorporating exercise and detoxifiers, supplements as needed. And believe me, then their skin clears up, their period comes on the next month, and they don't even know it's coming. The same can happen in the menopause. And I've seen this over and over again. Women who have suffered for years with symptoms like hot flashes, the weight gain, continuously spiraling downhill. Like, when is this ever going to stop, right? This is natural. It's not natural to suffer. It is not. You are not designed to suffer. So incorporating these tips and pearls, these healthy disciplines, right? That it creates a healthy transition.
And doctors don't have this training, and I have clients that are, they're gone through menopause and they're just given some medication, some hormone replacement, but they're not given any information that let's support your adrenals and let's support your HPA axis system and eat the right foods to help boost your hormone that you can do with nutrition and lifestyle habits, as you talk about. So I think backing up, though, people should probably read your first book, The Hormone Fix.
Hormone Fix.
That's an essential part to understand about your hormones, because you touch a little bit on it in Keto Green, but we really need to get that foundational information on how your hormones actually work.
Yes. And I think the Hormone Fix is mandatory reading for every woman. And let me tell you, I have guys reading it and referencing it and just understanding from it and applying aspects into their own lives too, which is so cool. I have to tell you a story, because I was in North Florida, and one of my friends' clinics, Dr. Angeli Akey's clinic at North Florida Integrative Med. And I had spoken there when the Hormone Fix came out, and a guy came up to me and goes, I'm a zoologist. I've been working, at the zoo for 20 years or whatever and studying veterinary medicine, and goes, I've read your book and I've given 5 or 6 copies away. I gave it to my son-in-law. I gave it, he's got to understand my daughter. And I gave it to, he's just been giving this book away, and he has it all dog-eared and highlighted. And he goes, there's so much truth here. And I was just so flattered. I love it when, especially scientists, especially men, right, are like, oh my gosh, to have that. And that's so true. And for women at all ages, it is, I've had women in their 20s reading the book and also women in their 80s. And so there's something in there, right? There's an aha moment. And it's often not about doing more. It's often about doing less or doing the right things, you know, and eliminating some things. And that makes, oh my gosh, it just changes our energy. It changes our vibration, and understanding how our hormones are designed to shift. And then what happens when they're not shifting as designed, when there's hormone disruptors, chemicals, yeast, mold, all these toxins that can affect us. And we absolutely need to cleanse and detox. In the Hormone Fix, there's a 10-day Keto Green detox. And in Keto Green 16, there's a 16-day plan that's game-changing.
So how do you know if you need to do this program? Like, why do people have signs and symptoms that they come to you saying, okay, I need something, what I'm doing right now isn't working. I'm doing all the right things, but I'm not getting the desired results?
Well, I think it comes to there's many, certainly if you have any symptoms, you definitely want to do it, but there's also the maintenance, like working out. Okay, this is a way that really is helpful, has been proven clinically. We ran clinical studies to work and increase, get good results very quickly. And also, again, we've seen just amazing results, like improvement in symptoms, drop in symptom scores, improvement in blood pressure, and elimination of hot flashes, and that's important. But there's also that routine maintenance that we do, like a good night's sleep, routine daily maintenance, and we do for our car, right, a tune-up. Routine maintenance. And so doing a cleanse program periodically, whether it's my Keto Green 16 or another cleanse program, that is just restorative to the body. Again, we want big into regenerative medicine, giving our body what it needs to heal itself, because it's so intelligent, right? And so being able to add this in, to incorporate this in, maybe once a quarter, every season, to do a 10-day or 16-day really focused cleanse. And I really believe we all need to do this.
For sure. I like to think of it doing a reset and a reboot. You just need to, like we do to your computer, Control, Alternate, Delete. Like, what do we do for our body to just get a jump start on everything, get all body systems working at optimal levels so we can function at our best every day? I think so many people just always think, again, going back to blaming the aging process, this is how I am, this is my new normal, instead of going, okay, what can I do? Why am I feeling this way? Let's investigate a little deeper and let's do something about it. Take action. But I get tired of people going, that's it. It's not my genetics.
Right. And I would say it's not your mama's menopause, right? We've been exposed to thousands, tens of thousands of more chemicals.
True.
seeing it already in this generation, memory care centers that are piling up, retirement centers that are like the new boom in building, right? And so that's terrifying. That's terrifying. And I would say, I've got 4 daughters. I don't need to give them any excuse to tuck me away somewhere. And incontinence is a really biggie too, right? Incontinence is the number one reason, the straw that breaks the camel's back, so to speak, that caregivers put their loved one into a nursing home. And, these changes that occur, vaginal changes, bladder changes occur, to the best of us if we don't do something different. And so like this whole concept of natural solutions, vaginal exercises, pelvic floor exercises, healthy diet, decreasing inflammation, keeping the gut microbiome healthy, using like my product Julva, that's essential, right? So I consider it essential. I don't go a day without it. So, these things, I've had 4 big babies. Incontinence is a big issue. And like I was on the concept of memory care, children tucking, your loved ones away. And I'm like, okay, 4 girls, I don't want, give them any more excuses of how to deal with them as teenagers. They're holding resentment, I'm sure.
Well, and I think, it goes to those subjects, as you talk about on your show, you have the Girlfriend's Doctor, that you're speaking of topics like Julva that people don't talk about. I get people's private information in my intake forms, their background, their areas of concern. And it's pretty common that people have little female problems that they don't want to talk about, but they just kind of settle and not do anything about it. So I think all those hormone problems we get, and different changes in our body as we reach different decades, age ranges, that we can, pick up some information from the Keto Green 16 and the Hormone Fix, but also the Julva and other things that you don't talk about. It's like, okay, I have night sweats. People are gaining weight. Maybe they are more moody. They're more emotional, and they're, not, what do you call it, dry down there. Their skin's tighter, dry. And then the skin, like I always tell you, my under eyes and all these different things that happen, but that we can actually do something and improve that process.
Yeah, absolutely. And those skin changes, again, we worry about what's happening around our eyes, our lips, right? Or lip lines. I don't want any of that either. It's happening down there. So we have to work on preventing it. And, that's true. Thinning hair, I don't want that either, right? Mm-hmm. So these things that we have to do to prevent that, it's just part of the process. Yeah,
is that
being healthy?
Some of the benefits in the Keto Green program that people get from that? Or
yeah, we're building collagen and decreasing inflammation, and really, because it's test don't gas, we're looking at getting more alkaline. Mm-hmm. So that decreases cortisol, which is the most acidic hormone, and rapidly aging. That cortisol rapidly ages us. So getting that into control, we see that. I've had clients say, I remember one client, Ricky out of Australia, she goes, went to the gas station. I've been going to the gas station 23 years. And finally the guy came up to pump my gas. We still pump their gas where she's at. And he goes, "Oh my God, you look so beautiful. What's going on? You look so healthy." And she goes, "That was the best compliment I could get. She just looked so much younger." Mm-hmm. And so, and having that healthy radiance, that's youthfulness. And we've seen those exceptions, right? We've seen those beautiful women and men that are energetic, radiant, at a high level of, you see joy in them. Yeah. And that's where I want to bring all of us to.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is learning how to eat, but also the importance of the stress and the sleep you tap into, as well as exercise. And as I say all the time, the Goldilocks effect, as you said, not too much, not too little, but that right amount to create that positive benefit. And I think a lot of people need to always find that. But how does sleep and stress impact our hormones and our ability to lose weight and feel good?
Oh my gosh, in so many ways, right? We consider stress sleep the best anti-aging treatment, and stress the most aging process that we go through. And we've seen it in our presidents, right? From first term to second term. You see the rapid aging, the graying, the wrinkles. It's indisputable. And so that's chronic stress. And so that will create this acidity in our body, and we have to rob Peter to pay Paul to keep the system in balance. So we are taking nutrients from our bone, from our collagen, from our muscle, and it creates this wasting effect. Why is it that a 30-something-year-old can have osteopenia, or osteoporosis? Because of a high stress, high acidic, inflammatory life and diet. And so reversing that at any age will help keep our bones healthy, keep our skin healthy, keep us more, our skin more elastic, and repairing well, and immune system strong. So that's part. And then sleep is that there's no better medicine than a good night's sleep. There really is good restorative deep night's sleep. Now, Ambien does not get you a good night's sleep. Xanax does not help you get a good night's sleep. There's no increase in REM. We really want to work to restore deep restorative sleep.
Yeah, that's always my goal ever since I had my health, adrenal, HP axis issues in 2013 when I couldn't sleep. Is like the worst nightmare of being there wide awake. And so I know ever since then, especially this year, I've been really strict with my sleep hygiene routine and doing yin yoga at nighttime, writing my gratitude journal, having the lights dim, and doing some breathing exercises. Because I think it's just, if you want to work on healthy lifestyle habits, work on getting your sleep, and also getting up in the morning and go for a little walk in our new beautiful backyard up the hilltop and see the sunrise and being outside. So I think it's really important. All those things are free. And just taking ownership of it. But I think it's essential for people to look at. It's like the whole picture.
Yes.
So you talk about testing and not guessing, as I always love to talk about. And being acidic, you talk about in the alkaline. What your program is is finding that right balance, more alkaline side. And if you can touch on that, I know we talked about last episode, but I think it's an important thing to teach people how this is different than other keto programs, carnivore programs. Everyone's searching for that instant result to lose weight.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, there is that balance. And we need, once we start looking and seeing what will shift our body, to share with our audience that when I was 48, and I've been well over 240 pounds, lost 80, kept it off for nearly a decade, and then 48 hit. And without doing anything different, I gained 5, 10, 20 pounds, what felt like overnight. And Debbie, I've shared with you, I've had patients come in and they say, Dr. Anna, I'm gaining 5, 10, 20 pounds and I'm not doing anything different. Well, before I went through that myself, I'd been like, sure, there's probably a Snickers bar in your purse. I mean, you're more sedentary, driving through for one or more dinners a week, So, quite skeptical. God will make me humble. So I, gained those 20 pounds, and I'd been I didn't know when that weight would stop because I'd been well over 240 at some point. I'm like, well, I'd be 300 pounds. So that took me into this keto world, which I was familiar with for neurologic issues because I have a daughter with seizures. And so, incorporating healthy keto has been really critical, and, as much as you can help a young adult daughter, right? And so I was familiar with it, and I'm completely restricting carbs and working on this keto, as well as, working with just all of a sudden I felt like I was, irritable, agitated, not myself. And I had teenage daughters at the time. I had one in their 20s, two in high school, and one in the wee beginnings of elementary school. And when you are a single mom trying to, manage a household and, all of these responsibilities, and, you're the patients, that is not a healthy home environment to be in, right?
Yeah.
And so I was feeling on edge. And then I recalled, as I put patients on a keto or low carb type of diet, like my Candida patients, in the perimenopause, they would say, Dr. Anna, I don't like how I feel. And it was exactly what I was feeling. I didn't like how I feel. So in this perimenopause state, certainly there's a shift. We don't have all those protective youth hormones, high DHEA, high testosterone, high progesterone. So we're in a more vulnerable, I call it neuroendocrine vulnerable time period. And so I just checked my urine pH, and I was as acidic as the urine pH paper would read. And we know, based on many research articles, that a urine pH 7 or greater is associated with decreased cardiovascular disease, decreased joint pain, arthritis, decreased cancer, decreased hypertension, decreased diabetes. All of these things are associated with a more alkaline urinary pH. Now, our blood pH is going to stay stable, right? We're going to rob Peter to pay Paul, so to speak, to keep that blood pH really stable. But our urine pH is a thermometer. It's a measure of how we're really doing and how our internal environment is also integrating with our external environment. And so for me, that was a huge aha moment. I'm like, no wonder I feel irritable. No wonder I feel inflamed. No wonder I'm not feeling calm. And so I just focused on the alkalinizing foods. And then coincidentally, those mornings I would walk on the beach and watch the sunrise. I was more alkaline all day. So that was a huge aha moment. So cortisol, stress, our thoughts, real or perceived stressors, can completely acidify our body. And so using nutrients and using practices for that alkalinizing benefit to our body is game changing. So when I did that and incorporate and experience the alkaline pH, urine pH, and ketosis at the same time, which is hard because ketogenic, high acidic foods, a lot of fasting, but that is magic. When you get into that state, that is magic. The fog lifts, you're clear. I experienced the peace that surpasses all understanding. And at that vital stage, when I had teenagers in the house and I was a single mom and there was rebellion all the way around, and I was near broke at that time, I closed my practice and to take care of them. And I just, I just experienced that peace that surpasses all understanding. And I call this getting keto alkaline or keto green, that energized enlightenment. I was clear. I could make good decisions. And from there, again, having that time of being near broke, just letting go of my practice, unable to juggle it all, to creating the online programs, Magic Menopause, writing my books, The Hormone Fix, and now Keto Green 16. I couldn't have done that back then. And it was this combination is really balancing. And for each individual, it'll be different. Some people get keto green very quickly, and some people take time. There are challenges, metabolic challenges, toxins, and that just helps you discover what's the right next step, right? What is that just one right next step that I have to take now? And it's part of that discovery as you're going through it.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part because I think so many people read things on social media and they see these huge transformations and they don't know the full story, and they start doing it and they want to lose that weight and they don't realize there's so much more to fat loss and hopefully optimizing health and longevity than just changing, going low carb and eating high fat. And I think it gets confusing. And that's why I always talk about chronic stress impacts the whole you, including your blood sugar is going to be altered if you're constantly stressed and you're having that glucose response. So I think it's just so important to look at everything we're talking about is the nutrition, the sleep, the exercise, the stress management, but also the intermittent fasting and then testing. Are you eating the right amount for your body? What are you showing on your strip? So it's easy little strips you can put, I have a little basket in our bathroom with the toilet paper and my little container of my alkaline strips that you can just little pee on and test it. So it's pretty simple. And it's just how often should people to test and how should they get started on that when they do the program?
Yeah, I think when you start, check every time you use the bathroom to the best of your ability. Check every time you use the bathroom. Just, look and see, are you alkaline? Are you getting into ketosis? What's going on and what's going to take to get there? And it's such a discovery process. For example, getting up and being alkaline in the morning with a urine pH that's alkaline, that is awesome. And then what I discovered is that, that morning, I could be keto green in the morning when I wake up, but drink that cup of coffee, hit the ground running, and the next time I go, I'm not in ketosis and I'm not alkaline. I didn't have anything but coffee and maybe a stressful morning. That's enough to shoot you, increases blood glucose circulation and shoot you out of getting that keto alkaline state. So how we manage our mornings, that can transform our life. Mm-hmm. So understanding that shift, okay, how I'm managing this morning, what do I have to do to start my day off at a healthy physiology? and start the day that way. So it shifted. So starting with, before I get out of bed, I have some gratitude that I give. What did I love about yesterday? Where did I see love? Where was I loving? Where could I have been more loving? And, or laughed at myself. I love that one because there's always, I've laughed at myself for. And then when I, get up, that I'm doing movement activity. I'm hydrating really well with a good tall glass of water with lemon juice and maybe some apple cider vinegar and my shot of Mighty Maca in there. I drink that pretty early in the morning and just allow that to work and do my workout, some type of movement activity, and then start my day. That with all the demands that are put on us, doesn't take long, but that practice, that way we start our morning, helps manage our day.
I always say I'm thankful for COVID this year, 2020, because I never have had this opportunity to start my day like that. And I've been doing something similar, but for 25 years, I've been a personal trainer. And what are you doing? You're at the gym at 5:30 in the morning, 5 a.m. some days, and training clients or teaching classes. Or I would go work out myself because that's what time I get up. And so now it's like, oh, I don't have an appointment till 7:30 or 9 a.m. I have this time and create this whole new routine. But I think it's looking at the gifts that we get from these different experiences, good or bad, and what you can learn from them. But I think it's learning how to create your own daily routine is really an essential part of people trying to lose weight, is burn fat, is doing the Keto Green program, because it is such a holistic approach.
It is. And do it together. Do it as a family. Do it as a work family. The Keto Green 16 program, is designed to be, to establish more community for sure too. And that accountability really makes a big difference. It
is. And I always have clients, like, if you're going to change the way you eat, we're working on your nutrition, we have to get your whole family doing it. It doesn't really work because they start and they're all eating differently. And especially if someone is tested and they need to be gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, whatever. And if everyone else is eating that way, you get the cross-contamination of gluten too. But I think it's really important for the whole house to work together on creating new eating habits and making it sustainable, not a diet short-term plan.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And everyone can do it. Everyone can follow along.
And that's what the other question is, because this is more a podcast for athletes, but I'm always trying to bring in health building topics as this with you and hormones. But have you ever looked at how someone that's working out maybe an hour to 2 to 3 hours a day has stay keto green?
Yeah. And actually, I think this is really important. It's looking at that to see, okay, where does your timing for your workouts, where do you get the most benefit to? And so I always say that I think that, we can be completely low carb and really accelerate our performance, because ketones, like I said, ketones is to jet fuel as gasoline, as glucose is to gasoline. So ketones is to jet fuel as glucose is to gasoline. So we want that jet fuel. So getting Keto Green and really nourishing your body is critically important. Workouts will increase your glucose, will increase your acidity. So focusing on like, okay, well, how, and we need that, right? We're going to produce some lactic acid, a good, hard, intense workout. Mm-hmm. But then how do we flush that from our system really quickly so we recover and repair even at a higher level? So, and for me, especially for athletes, we use Mighty Maca and all of them, Mighty Maca Plus, my green superfood combination, and the Keto Green shake, which is a clean vegan protein to add into that to give additional protein and additional alkalinizers. And that works. We have Olympic athletes doing that, and it's worked really, really well.
Yeah, I think it's important. If you look at the benefits of maca, and I did a blog I'll share in the show notes I did a couple of weeks ago, the importance of maca and the quality of maca that you have in your Mighty Maca Plus drink is such a key ingredient for athletes and female athletes. But I know for my husband too, I'm having him take it because he needs maca as well, because I think hormones get low in men that exercise a lot and constant stress in our lives right now.
Absolutely. And guys feel the effects. Like they'll be like, oh, I'm feeling frisky. I'm feeling guys. I no longer need that mid-afternoon nap. And it's true. And so I hear that from all our guys. And for women, the get rid of their hot flashes. They feel more balanced. I've seen DHEA levels and progesterone levels increase just by adding Mighty Maca Plus. And so that's really encouraging to me because that's what we want. We want our body to produce its own hormones better. We want to reduce the inflammation and help, support us in this process.
Well, I think it's important because I have mine here, but it's that I'm absorbing it because I've taken so many different supplements and I don't feel like you're always knowing if you're absorbing all that stuff you're taking. So I think, getting a real food-based nutrition drink that's going to have all those ingredients in it as you have, that will really help hormones, but also recovery and repair for athletes. But another question before we wrap up, how do you know if you're acidic? What makes you more acidic? Like, I know eating more of a higher protein diet and, you said more exercise makes you more acidic. What other things that create more acidity?
Stress, inflammation, toxins, mold toxicity, elevated glucose, all of those things. And like when some medications, working with clients now, they've been testing urine pH for years, since over 5-6 years now, and working with clients on a regular basis doing this. Those are some of the things that come up. And when people are having trouble getting alkaline, a food sensitivity, like if I eat dairy, I could be alkaline. If like there was some Parmesan in a pesto, for instance. I mean, that's how sensitive I am. And that's why that testing for food sensitivities is so beneficial. So anyway, a little bit of dairy and I'm acidic. And it's interesting. I'm like, what was it that shifted me? And you start thinking like, okay, those are things that definitely are culprits.
So I wonder if people that are doing more the strict carnivore, how they are, because we were saying how it works for some people and then it doesn't for others, but I'm not, like I was telling you before we recorded, I'm not an organ eat meat person. I barely can eat meat, but just eating the whole animal, you'll get more of the nutrition. But people that are doing carnivore, I'd be curious to see what the outcome if people do need to be adding in some alkalinity or some extra fibrous vegetables.
Yeah, and I think this is where, everyone's individual chemistry comes in because you've got to get that alkaline urine pH. Otherwise, you do, and that is game changing. So if you're doing carnivore and you're alkaline, how cool. Or you're doing carnivore short term and you're acidic, okay, you're doing it short term, but get that alkaline urine pH because that is nutrients our body needs. That's inflammation. That's a part of our kidney function. How much wear and tear are our organs going to be able to take? Look at it. And just thinking, okay, if we're eating, carnivore, like what we ate. Are they fed on acorns? Are they fed on grass? Are they fed on alkalinizers versus fed on grain? That's different. I know for me, when I went carnivore, my skin broke out. Sorry. When I went carnivore, my skin broke out. I actually gained weight and, and I did the best I could. And so that was, I was completely carnivore, but I was like, my body's not agreeing with this. It's too much stress. And then the other thing, if you're, that ability to meditate, the ability to down regulate your physiology is really critical when you are doing a high acid plan. So that oxytocin comes in, the hormone of love, bonding, connection, the hormone of joy and laughter. So that we're using this very alkalinizing hormone and those practices to help with our physiology in these instances. And it just makes a difference. A lot more science is needed in this area. And in looking at who, what, where men have 10 times as much testosterone than women. Testosterone is anabolic, right? It builds up your muscle. It preserves your bones. Women don't have that, especially in the perimenopause. So we're easily shifted into an acidic catabolic state compared to men. And so that is something to really recognize. A lot of these plans and programs long-term are done on men or others that, maybe they're also supplementing with hormones at the same time. So then that provides a cushion. And so it's not for the general. It's not for the general for the long-term.
Awesome. Well, I know we're out of time suddenly, but anything else we didn't get to? You want to kind of tell us about how to find your girlfriend's talk show that's out and what's going on next year?
Yeah, join me at the Girlfriend Doctor. Just go to dranna.com, DRANNA.com. So that's my website, dranna.com, and look on my show tabs. You'll see the Girlfriend Doctor show, and definitely subscribe and join me. I love it. I'm having such a blast with that. And then also Instagram, the Girlfriend Doctor on Instagram, and my Keto Green community on Facebook. It's an open Keto Green community, and it is thriving. It is so much fun in there. So,
yeah, you are a busy lady.
I love it.
Up. You're doing such a great job, and you're really inspiring everyone. And I think, people should for sure follow you on social media and read the books, of course, to learn more, and realize that N equals 1 in itself experiment. And then we want to test and not guess, because you're going to have to alter what you eat a little bit based on what your ketones and alkalinity says and blood sugar. So just really getting that information dialed in so you know what is best for you to eat, how to manage your stress, how to get your sleep, and what type of exercise you should do, as well as, cycling in and out a little bit of things too. So we make it a lifestyle, not some, 16 days we're done, but we're making this more realistic to keep going.
And I love my feast days.
Yeah. See, feast and fast. That's what people did.
Yes, exactly.
So thank you so much. We'll put everything in the show notes, guys. So go ahead down below and subscribe and watch the video. You can listen to the audio and then get all the links to the books and the products so you can get to know more and improve your hormones.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast. If you have any questions, feedback, or topic suggestions, let us know on Facebook or at debbiepotts.net. You can help us to continue to grow by leaving a review on iTunes. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time